Meet TB Joshua, one of Africa's most influential pastors.
TB Joshua has taken his healing mission to all corners of the world. But not only is this his first time bringing an experience to Israel, but he chose Nazareth, the hometown of Jesus, to perform miracles in his name.
Prophet Temitope Balogun Joshua, the founder of the Synagogue Church of All Nations in Lagos, Nigeria, is one of the most influential and sought-after pastors across Africa and around the world. And even before the COVID-19 pandemic, people across Africa, including in South Africa, waited for many months to be allowed to travel to Lagos and meet with him and to worship in his church, even if it was just for a day. With the coronavirus pandemic triggering lockdowns and shutdowns in Nigeria last year, many of Prophet TB Joshua's congregants began to follow church services on his Emmanuel TV, one of the most watched television stations across Africa. And for the millions of followers who weren't able to tune in to Emmanuel TV, they were turning to YouTube. Until last April, YouTube made the decision to terminate TB Joshua's channel, claiming that his content repeatedly violated the company's hate speech policy pertaining to discrimination based on sexual orientation. In a statement made to Today News Africa, a YouTube spokesperson, Ivy Cho, said TB Joshua's channel, which had over 1.8 million subscribers and over 600 million views, repeatedly violated community guidelines pertaining to hate speech. In the video that's most responsible for triggering the closure of Joshua's channel, he casts out the demon of homosexuality from congregants. The video's description read, "God hates sin, not sinners." Many feel this is a slippery slope to begin policing people's actions or beliefs under the label of hate speech. At what point does rhetoric become hate speech and stop being protected under the umbrella of religious freedom? While YouTube is meant to be a platform where creators can openly share ideas and express themselves, many have taken TB Joshua's ban as an affront to the teachings of Christianity and an infringement on free expression. Over the last 4 years, disagreement about the extent to which offensive content should be tolerated and at what point free speech turns into hate speech has become a point of contention. What's the line that preachers cannot cross without their rhetoric being labeled as hateful or impermissible? That raises many concerns among religious communities about whether pastors can be punished for merely reading the teachings of Scripture. For instance, how can YouTube best administer its community guidelines to make sure that conservative Christians and members of the LGBT community both feel welcome and respected on the platform? With 2.3 billion users around the globe, YouTube, a subsidiary of Google, holds a lot of power and influence over the world, and their decisions on what type of content should be allowed or banned. And if YouTube were to disproportionately police conservative content, it would be accused of imposing the company's ideological perspective on its users. There are many practical challenges for a company like YouTube, which is headquartered in California, in the United States. They have to monitor global content and take into consideration the religious and cultural differences between different parts of the world. Throughout Nigeria and much of Africa, homosexuality is punishable by law. Conservative Christians ought to be entitled to the same freedoms of expression as more liberal content creators regarding whether or not YouTube agrees with their perspectives. And just ahead of TB Joshua's 58th birthday coming up June 12th, he's asking his followers to pray and fast